Okay, go.
Welcome to debaters. This debate that
Well, he put it on my desk.
Okay, audience.
Your time's been going.
Creationism should be taught along with evolution in public schools. Students need to experience both propositions so that they can decide for themselves if they want to believe in creationism or evolution. Both creationism and evolution are theories. If schools teach both, it will give the students equal opportunity to decide which they find valid. In the United States, 46% of Americans hold the view of creationism. It's likely that the same views of the parent or the guardian will be passed on to the child, whether they support or deny evolution. If schools do teach creationism along with evolution, children will be able to form their own opinion without pressure from their parents to decide which theory they support. There's also religious variety in public schools. Private schools typically stick to one prevalent religion, such as Catholicism. However, public schools are more diverse. Public schools do not teach religion because the children in the area are required to go to school. This is what causes such religious diversity, although most Americans claim they are a Christian of some sort. By teaching creationism along with evolution, it is not teaching religion, but teaching an idea. By teaching creationism, schools would be giving opportunities for better understanding the religious side of man's religions. Aren't children required to go to school so they can learn? If schools were to teach only one argument, then it would be biased, because the curriculum would not be including a key part of one of the schemes for how man originated. America has freedom of religion. The religious side of man's start is known as the divine theory of religion. By teaching the divine theory in schools, it is still optional for the student to accept. Young people who are atheists will not be forced into any belief, but will learn of both theories on an equal level of understanding. There are also students who do not have the option to go to church. Students do not get the same opportunities outside of school. For whatever reason, if a student is unable to attend church, school may be able to interest them or educate them in the divine theory. Just because a student is uninformed about man's religious origins does not mean they are uninterested in learning them. In America, the Constitution says that the church and law must be separated. Although America would be creating laws regarding schools teaching religion, the laws themselves will not be based upon religion. By doing so, the law is not decided by religion or religious morals, but it's a decision to allow creationism to be taught along evolution the same way. This goes back to the divine theory still being an option for students to accept, and by law, schools will be required to keep out as much bias as possible and make sure that teachers do not pressure students depending on their own personalities.
Okay, first off, I want to talk about how there is the problem of them having that both together, they're definitely going to have bias. Maybe not just because of the teachers, but it's just might be their nature. They might add their own opinions in. The other reason is they can't teach it because of the law of separation of church and state. They have that law put in place because they don't want the teachers to have that pressure on them and have to teach two different subjects at the same time. Yes.
By creating the law that creationism could be taught in school, it'd both be taught equally along with evolution on the same levels, and the teachers wouldn't be pressuring them. They'd be teaching it as a lesson and not as a religion.
That may be, but also they also have that pressure of having to teach that as well as evolution, and not all kids have the same beliefs, and so they really can't teach the Christianity, because if they did, they might have some students offended while some others are being inspired. The problem is of those offended students. Another big thing with separation of church and state is that it sort of talks about how with the parents' choice of what the student believes in, because from my experience, I really didn't have that decision off the bat. I was brought into a religion, Christianity, and so it may not be the student's decision on what they believe in. They might just have been brought up in it. And with someone teaching them that, it may offend the parents as well because their student is learning something that they don't want them to learn about. One other thing is it somewhat violates the First Amendment in the Constitution because of when it says freedom of religion. If they're only teaching evolution and the divine creation, what about those students that don't believe in any of those? Granted, they may not have to believe in it, but they're still having to sit through that and hear someone else's opinions. And I guess if it were me, I wouldn't, like when I was sitting in Mr. Gamby's class, I really didn't like to hear the evolution part and having to take notes on that because I didn't believe in it. And that's not what I believe. And so, granted, I still did it and all that, but I didn't really pay attention because I didn't like it. And so, it's sort of that thing of someone, if they're not trying to put it on you, they still are because they're teaching it to you and they're telling it to you.